Okay, so we got a Ford F-250 with a power stroke. Now, I've changed the steering box and the steering column already, so if you need that video, click on my name underneath this video and you can find all my videos, and that video is in there if you need it. On this video, we're going to pull the power steering unit and we are going to change one hose. So the power steering pump and one hose. So again, the steering box and the steering column was on another video. So we're going to start off, normally I would just go up underneath the tire here and get access to most of it, but I can't make a video for you because there's not a whole lot of stuff, or there's a bunch of stuff in the way to be able to see. It is an easier way, especially with this truck being lifted the way it is. So if your truck is lifted, you may want to go underneath there and then just follow the description as we go. If not, then let's go ahead and do it this route. Now this one's going to be practically identical to the 150, 250, and 350. Keep in mind this is a power stroke, so it'll be mounted a little bit differently. If yours is a gas engine, Triton or whatever, the concept is still going to be pretty much the same, so you can use this video. So for purposes of videoing, and you may not need to do this, I'm going to go ahead and pull the battery. I'm going to pull the air cleaner box and the injection tube there. And then we'll take loose a serpentine belt, show you how to do that. We'll get down to the power steering unit. We will disconnect the power steering unit lines, and then we'll pull the pump, and then I'll show you how to take the pulley off and put it back on, and a few tricks along the way, I hope. So, all right, let me get started by pulling this stuff out of here, and you go ahead and get started by pulling your stuff out of the way. Remember where you put it. Remember where you took it off. If you're not sure, just snap a picture, move something, snap a picture, move something, snap a picture, and before too long, you'll be a professional. You won't need no pictures anymore, and you'll be making these videos like I am. So, alrighty, let's get started. Okay, so I have moved the battery box and the air breather and the ductwork going to the air breather. Now we can see the power steering pump down there. Now you're going to have two lines on that. One's on this side, one's directly underneath, and the one on top you're going to use a pair of pliers. Now the one on this side here, that plug right there, that goes right back here by your brake canister, or your brake cylinder, master cylinder. This particular line is going to come with an adapter plug that when you buy the new one, this one here, you'll notice there's no nut on there on this side. They sleeve in and you have to sweat those on. So if you're going to get a generic version from your auto parts store, this is what you're going to get. If you go to the Ford's dealership, you're going to get the high pressured line that's on there. I'll show you more of it when I get it off. But keep in mind, if you're running bigger tires like this truck is, and there's a lot more pressure on that pump, especially if you have a booster, you're probably going to want to go with the high pressured line. I think we're going to take this one back and get the other one. We'll know better when we take it off, but probably. So anyway, we'll get more into that in a little bit. So now we need to take the serpentine belt off of the power steering. The way you're going to do that is there will be a 1/2-inch drive. Let me get the light down in there. You need a 1/2-inch drive, breaker bar, ratchet. Oh, it looks like that one's busted. So I just noticed this is busted right there, is where you're going to stick the 1/2-inch breaker bar, and you're going to pull it towards the passenger side, and that will loosen up the belt and you can take it right off. I'll use a pry bar to get it out because I see that's busted inside there. And if that's the case, just go right above it on this side, stick a pry bar from that direction, and just pry it. That's the way we used to do them anyway. But okay, so let's get that off, and then we can take the serpentine belt off, and we'll start disconnecting all these lines, and we'll go over that line. Okay, so if yours is busted like this one is, you're simply just going to put the bar right behind it like that, pry back, and slide the pulley, or the belt, off of that one tensioner pulley right there, that idler pulley, I mean. And then when you relax it, the belt will be loose. So if you have that problem, it's as simple as that. But it's nice to use that if you have it, and yours probably will. So sometimes I do that. I reached down there and put it on, and you probably looked earlier, it didn't have that much of it missing. Now it's got a bunch. It's just chipping away. So it's been broke in the past. But no big deal. We'll still get it off, and we'll put it back on the same way. And that part can be replaced. They run about $45 to $70 depending on the engine that you have. This one, we're probably not even going to worry about it because we can still maneuver it like that. Okay, so let's get the belt out of the way off the power steering pump. We don't need to take it all the way off. There will be a diagram somewhere up here. If you don't have one, I'll get a picture of the one that's on this truck that will tell you It may be on the hood too. It'll tell you the direction of each pulley. So if you don't have that, I'll make sure that I put it here. And if I can't find it on this truck underneath all this stuff, then I will put a description and the link for you. But okay, let's get back over to the power steering pump. Okay, so now on the side of the pump, we're gonna pull this one loose here. This nut here is 11/16. The top line is gonna come off with a pair of pliers, and so will the bottom one. So let's go ahead and pull those three off now. At this point, before you pull off this one with the 11/16, the larger bolt may come with you. If it does, great. If not, that's okay too, but it will spin freely. So if it's stuck in there, just bring it out with it. But you will reuse that because this is the area that gets sweated. So it will spin freely, and both will come, or the one. But either way, it's not going to hurt anything. You didn't break anything. Just continue to pull it out and bring it out with the hose. This is the hose that we're going to replace, so I'm going to take it off here and up there. So let's go ahead and disconnect those three lines. Also, underneath this power steering pump, put something. I've got a jug underneath there, because once you pull this one, it's going to drain about a 1/16 or an 1/8 of the fluid that's inside the pump will come out at this point. So let's get something underneath the truck to catch the fluid and pull these three lines. Again, 11/16 and a pair of pliers should do you here. Okay, so if you have all three of those lines off, this is what you're looking at now. Now we have the pulley and the three mounting brackets. Now this other line I've laid on the ground, I want to show you this. This is the new one that we purchased that we're going to take back. This is the old one. So you can see the high pressured fittings here. And again, for this four-wheel drive, and it's such a big truck with such large tires, there's going to be a lot more pressure. And I know you would think, no, it has the same amount of pressure. No, it doesn't. It increases the pressure. The amount of pressure that flows through it is the same, but when you turn hard right and hold it hard right, that pressure is increased by the size of the tires and how far you pull it, of course, but there's still pressure on it. Not to mention, if you hit a bump in that position, you're even putting more pressure for a small amount of time. This particular hose, you can see it's just two hose clamps. I think those are rated for, I don't even know what they are, but they got to be half the amount of this. If this is 150, that's probably 75 pounds, and I'm guessing even less. So here's our fitting that we talked about. Right here, this is just going to pull out of there probably. I got to use two hands, I think. Let's see if I can get it with one. There it goes. So there's our other fitting. Now you can buy this separately. And in this case, this particular piece, you can see where the hose goes into the square part right there. It is sweated on. So what you're looking at, this length of hose here, is that length of hose there. It's simply poked up inside this box, and then they're sweated on. So if you need that done, just let me know, leave a message, whatever. And I'm not going to put it in this video, but I will make a separate video how to sweat that on, and I'll use this particular hose if you want when I get the other one. And that won't be in for a couple of days, so I'll get this posted now. If you need it, I'll send you a link to it, and I'll show you how to sweat that in. Meanwhile, okay, let's get back to that pulley. Okay, so I've taken my my three-fingered puller here, and I just stuck it inside the holes, clamped it down. I've just wedged this screwdriver in here. Now I can tighten that down and pull the pulley off. Now there's a couple different pulleys that you can use. Preferably the one that I like is a small one that just clamps around the lip. You stick a small rod in there and you tighten it up and it pulls it off. But I couldn't find it. It's somewhere around here, or I've loaned it out. So I just used this steering wheel puller, and you can use a crow's foot too, and just put what they call a crow's foot, and just put wire behind it right there. You can use one of those as well too, or a small bracket across two of the legs, and a couple of bolts and nuts will work as well. But whatever it takes just to get it off, and I'll show you more of it when I get it off. But they're extremely simple. They seem like they're hard and they're pressed on, but they come off actually pretty easy with a little pressure. So we'll get this pulley off, then we'll pull the three bolts behind it to get the pump itself with the canister off. So let me crank this down and we'll take it off there. Again, if you can find the other pulley, you can see how I get to turn a little bit each time. If you can find the other pulley remover, if you get a choice, then you want to get the one that clamps the lip and pulls it off, because this is a little tedious. It takes a little bit longer. So I'm not going to sit here and waste your time waiting for me to get this turned off. I'll go ahead and shut it off. But just want to let you know, this is a way to do it, but it's not the proper pulley. So all right, let me get this off. Okay, so here's the clamp that I used, and I just simply cut a bolt off both sides and stuck it down inside there and used that to run it out. So I'm sure you understand the concept. That's about 2 inches long, maybe a little bit more. And you might have to trial and error if this is the only pulley that you have, or puller that you have. But again, if you can get the other one, it works too. These work just fine because they grab inside the holes of the pulley. Right there is where I grab. So, and of course you're going to have to reuse this because your new power steering pump's not going to have it. And same with alternators and such. Well, alternator has one, but you know what I mean. If you ever have to change one, they're simple to press on and press off. So power steering, I think, is the only one, though, that doesn't have any type of a cotter or a bolt or anything holding it on. They just press on, press off. So we got that off. Let's go ahead and get these bolts off. So I can see this has been changed before. You can see there where this bolt here is much bigger than that one. They should be 14s all the way around, or 17s, or again, all these power steering pumps are different, but they're the same. So this concept will work on just about any truck that I've ever done, whether it be Chevy, Ford, or Dodge. But the sizes, the way they're mounted, it's just a little bit different, but it's the same. So if you understand the concept of doing this one, I think you can do one for any vehicle. And I'm very sorry for being really thorough here. And I know there's a lot of information that you guys don't need, but just hang tight and get the information that you do need and then jump off. The reason I'm being thorough is for the common Joe that has no idea whatsoever how to do this, so that he can do it too and save a few bucks, because it's about all of us saving money. So don't get upset because it's real long. Please leave all the comments that you want, but just don't get upset. I'm being thorough for that reason. All right, again, I'm yakking. Let's take off these 3 bolts now. Our power steering pump will come off from the back side and we'll get her out. Okay, so I see a couple different things wrong with this thing. Number one, there's a rubber seal that goes between here and the pump itself. This is just your canister that holds the fluid, and that rubber seal separates the fluid from the pump and seals this jug. In this case, what's going on is this seal is bad and it's leaking. The other thing is, if you notice the tint of red in there, someone has used power steering fluid. Some of the older power steering pumps, you could run power steering fluid in them, and it took a long time to dry out the seals. But if you were already leaking, it was cheaper to run the transmission fluid, is what I meant. I'm sorry, transmission fluid, not power steering fluid. It was cheaper to run the transmission fluid than to keep pouring power steering fluid in it. So once it leaked, they already did it, knowing that it would ruin the seals anyway, but they were already leaking, so it didn't matter. In this case, these newer ones, they dry out 10 times faster. So if you can get power steering fluid, get it. If you have a leak, continue to use power steering fluid, or you're going to go through this problem much faster than what you would have 20, 30 years ago. So this one they added transmission fluid to, and I kind of noticed the color there too when it spilt. But I can really see it here now. There's transmission fluid in the power steering fluid. So anyway, we're good to go there. It's out. Doesn't matter. It's junk. It was whining real bad. The pump was gone in it. So now we're going to put the new one on. And let's get it ready, prepped and ready, and we'll put our pulley on too, and I'll show you how we're going to press that on. Okay, so I went ahead and threw those 2 rubber lines on. I held off on that one because you know that's the part I'm waiting on. And let's go ahead and press this on. Now, most alternators, almost just about every alternator, the threads will be the same here as they are here. They're coarse 5/16 on this truck. If you have a foreign car and it's fine, then it's probably fine thread also. If it's SAE, it's probably be SAE also, and the same size. So go ahead and pull this bolt out, and we'll get the power steering pump pulley mounted. And I'll show you how we'll do that with just an extension. So let me get that bolt. Okay, so we got our bolt, and I got an extra washer here too. Just grab yourself a long extension, and now essentially all we're going to do is just run that bolt with the washers and the extension right through there and ratchet it right on. You may have to put something in this hole and line it up with the pulley in order to hold it still from spinning so that it will crank down. So let's get that on there. Okay, so we ran our alternator bolt through that socket there, and may have to go with a larger socket after you go down a little ways. Stick a screwdriver through the hole like that. Whoops, just so it locks up, and then we'll crank down the bolt. Let me get my screwdriver. Okay, so I got my screwdriver wedged there, rotate it until it stopped, and now I'll just put this on there, and I'll just crank it down and keep cranking. Now, if the bolt bottoms out, then simply pull it off and put a larger extension on there, a longer one, and a piece of pipe or whatever you need to use. You get the concept. As you pull it down, it will suck the pulley back on, and you'll know when it bottoms out. We'll stop there and I'll explain more. So let me get this cranked down. Okay, so now we can pull our socket out of there and our screwdriver. Now, I want you to look at that lip right there. You see how it's lifted out? That's the actual lip to the pump. This is the lip to the pulley. When it's protruding out just like that, just a little bit, it's good to go. It's done. So that's it. So now let's go ahead and put our serpentine belt back on. Again, I'll get that description for you in there, and put our bolt back in our alternator. Okay, so we pulled that back. We got our bolt back in our alternator. We got our belt back on. I found that description, by the way. She is right there, so I hope you can see that. So this is a Power Stroke 7.3 liter diesel, and again, you probably have it, but if not, that's how it goes. To the left, up there in the top, it's the AC unit. That idler pulley, below that is the tensioner pulley that we pushed on, and then it goes around the second part of the tensioner pulley. Auxiliary pulley, if you have it, this one does. Back around the other idler to the crankshaft, water pump, power steering that we replaced, the alternator that we took the bolt out of. And so there you go. In this case, I know I'm going to get a comment that the tool for putting this back on is, I don't know, an LS27 or a DR76, and that's all you got to do, Thomas, is get that. Well, this video is not about going out and buying $40 and $50 tools when we're already spending hundreds to do the repair, and we're spending thousands to somebody who has those special tools. It's all about saving money. So if they ask you, you have that LB74 tool, say, yeah, I keep it right here. This is where I keep it stored. So again, it's about saving money. Don't leave a stupid comment. We all know that you have money and that you have all those special tools, so we don't care. That's not about this. So, all right, that's about it for that. Wrapped it up. I know you know how to put the turbo plumbing back on because you took it off. I know you how to get the battery and the battery box and the air filter back in because you took it off. You can go back to this video if you need to, if it is this particular truck, and check it out. I don't need to make this video any longer because all I need to do is connect my line when it comes in Monday, and I'm good here, and I don't think you need to show the rest. So I really appreciate you guys watching. Like always, please leave a comment, please click like, please click subscribe under my name, or my name under the video. You can click that for all my other how-to videos, and I will have the gearbox, and you can see that new steering rod right there that I installed. So if you need that on your steering, or how to line up your steering, or how to line up your pitman arm, all of that is covered in that video. I'll get that loaded for you guys. Again, thank you so much for watching. Enjoy.